Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Khatamin nabiyyin, shafi'il mudhnibin, rahmatan lil alameen. Maulana wa sayyidina Abil Qasim Muhammad. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض أرواحنا له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أكثر أهل جهنم المتكبرون. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, tonight we are going to finish off our topic on namaz and then transition into the next topic, which is nurturing the self and the family of oneself. Because we started one night earlier, we're going to have to somehow catch up in a way that also we have an extra lecture. So this has made it easy for me, because what we can do is we can finish namaz topic properly, start on this one tonight and then finish it off tomorrow. Hopefully that makes up the entire quota of lectures. We said something yesterday, which is the absolute crux of the matter when it comes to namaz. Politeness in namaz. Because politeness is one of those things, you don't need to be in a good mood for politeness. You can even fake politeness. When you walk out of your house in the morning, you're in a foul mood, you're tired, whatever. But you see your neighbor, you'll say hi, hello. You'll have a kind of smile on your face. Why? Because you think, you know what? I need to be polite with people. So you can even fake politeness. You're not in the mood to be polite, but you can even fake it. Now with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't want to use these words of faking it in front of Allah. But in a way, what you're doing is, you're saying, you know what? Maybe deep down, I don't want to pray at the moment, but I respect you too much to not pray at the moment. I want to show you my politeness. I want to show you that I respect you. You're too great for me to say I'm not in the mood. This is the politeness of prayer. Number two, we said yesterday not to rush the prayers. When you rush the prayers, imagine what Allah says to His angels. He says, this man, this servant, this woman, they are rushing their prayers because they want to attend to something more important. A client, a customer, a call, a something. Does he or she not know that I provide their needs and he's rushing the conversation with me? And thirdly, we mentioned that there are a number of rituals which Islam has given us, from adhan, iqama, wudu. These three basic rituals which we know from a young age, from childhood, forces us to be in a frame of mind where we speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As long as we think about it and we reflect upon it. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, politeness. One part of politeness, whenever you interact with people, okay? Whenever you interact with people, we meet each other all the time. We interact all the time. One part of when you want to be polite with someone, would you agree with me? It is to do with punctuality. How annoying is it when you give someone a time and they are late? And especially if they are consistently late. Won't it come to a time when someone is so late, so often you'll say, you know what, brother? Don't come. You're like disrespecting me. A person will go on the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show him his deeds. In that roll of deeds, it'll be written, you killed someone. He'll say, Allahumma, no. I didn't kill anyone. I admit, I wasn't the best of people. I may have done things wrong, but I didn't kill anyone. It will be said to him, all those minutes of people that you wasted with your unpunctual nature added up to one life. It's like you've killed someone. So timing is very, very important. Punctuality is very important. So respecting people, not wasting their time, making sure that you are on time. Now, if that is with people, then what about our Lord? If with people, we have to be careful with our timings, what about politeness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How lax are we with our timing with God? There is a story, every time I think of this story, it sends shivers down my spine. Maybe it will send shivers down your spine as well. This is from the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. What happened was when the Muhajirin of Makkah went over to Medina. We have two groups, right? Muhajirin and Ansar. Muhajirin of Makkah, they came over with the Holy Prophet or shortly after to Medina to live. The Ansar of Medina were already living in Medina, so they already had their lives, businesses, jobs, houses, etc. all set. Muhajirin came with next to nothing, whatever they could carry. When they came to Medina, there was a crisis. Because now where do you put these people? Where do you house them? Where will they work? What will they eat? So it's a crisis. Rasulullah came up with a brilliant thing. He said, I am now going to pair up one Muhajir with one Ansar. You are brothers. We're going to make you, each of you, brothers. You with you, you with you, you with you. In this way, he paired up people. When he paired them up, he told them, not only are you moral brothers, you're also financial brothers. Share with one another. Inherit from one another. Help one another. House one another. And the amazing thing was that he left one person right till the end. He says to Amirul Mu'mineen, I have left you till the end because you can be no one's brother except for my brother. So Rasulullah and Amirul Mu'mineen are of course brothers, no doubt. From the day they were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, min nurin wahid, from the same nur, from the same light, until ila masha'Allah. They're always going to be together. You cannot have one without the other. In hadith also we have, when you take the name of Muhammad, take the name of Ali as well. Salawat. Now, once the Holy Prophet did all this, everyone was paired up, but there were still a few left. These poor people who were Muslims, who were with the Holy Prophet, they didn't have anywhere to go. They were very poor. When I say poor, I mean as poor as you can imagine. They became known as Ashab Suffa. So right now, well, not right now unfortunately, because of the Saudis' way of showing their arrogance, but few years ago maybe, when you used to go to Masjidul Nabawi, you used to enter from Bab Jibreel, correct? Bab Jibreel is which side? The side of Jannatul Baqi. So if you're coming from Jannatul Baqi straight to Masjid al-Nabawi, instead of going into one of those fancy doors which they've made, there's a rather simpler door, that's Bab Jibreel. Once you enter Bab Jibreel, on your left hand side is the house of Janab Fatima, correct? You understand what I'm saying? On the right hand side, so if the left side is Janab Fatima's house, on the right hand side, you may have noticed, there's a slightly raised area, a platform. That platform was known as Suffa, the platform, the raised area. Rasulullah, these destitute poor people who didn't have any other place to go, he housed them there. He said, you lot live here. You sleep here, you spend your time here. So they were there. Question, of all the places to give someone a space, why in the mosque? Why there in front of everybody? Why in the main area? Why? Why? What is the rationale of the Holy Prophet?
People entering the mosque would help them out when they sleep.
That's it. That's it. Not to be indifferent to the suffering of others. Islam, if I can get onto this topic in the next few nights, how Islam trains our compassion and mercy and wants us to be compassionate to other people, not to be indifferent to the plight of others, not to sleep hungry when your neighbor is starving, not to sleep full when your neighbor is starving, not to live a comfortable life when other people are suffering. You'll say, what religion is this? This is the religion of angels. This is the religion far, far outstretches any humanitarian thing out there that you can think of. Islam's training of mercy and compassion is just out of this world. One thing I'll tell you and then I'll move on. This is not actually my topic, but this has come in on the side. Amirul Mu'mineen, he says, Allahumma salli ala. He says in Nahju Balagha, someone asks Amirul Mu'mineen, you're not eating properly, you're not eating much. He says, maybe, there could be someone in a place, and he names it, he says Yamama, but it could have been any place. Yamama was one of those places under the jurisdiction of Amirul Mu'mineen. Maybe there is someone in Yamama who cannot afford to eat, so I will not eat. Amirul Mu'mineen, do you know there's someone in Yamama? No. Maybe. It could be. First leader of this world who is willing to stay hungry on the basis of a possibility. In the recent Majlis, some of you were there, some of you were not. We mentioned about Bahrul Ulum, the great scholar, and how he dealt with his student. Another thing I'll share with you, I found a very similar report from the life of Nabi Yaqub. Nabi Yaqub had lots of sons. One of the sons was Nabi Yusuf, correct? One day, Nabi Yaqub, he decides to do a good deed and provide many people with food, as many as possible. He slaughters an animal. He slaughters this animal and he announces, everybody, you are welcome to come to my house, partake of this feast. I've slaughtered this animal, we're going to cook the meat. Whoever is out there, whoever wants any part of it, please come and take part in this deed of eating from this animal. Many people came, they ate, they went, many people came. Finally, at the end of the night, Nabi Yaqub closed his house, everything, packed everything away. He did not know there was one final person. This final person, he was late. He had fasted that day. He was starving, hungry like anything. He had kept a roza. He had not done his iftar. He was relying on this thing to feed him. He got there late. When he got there, he saw everything is shut, the house is shut, everything is off, no one's around. He said, now what will I do? I'm too late. He said, I'll sleep hungry. He found a nearby stone, he put his head on the stone and he went to sleep. Jibreel comes to Nabi Yaqub and says, do you know there's a person who wanted to come to your door for food and he didn't get any and he slept hungry? Now be prepared for bala to descend on a prophet. This is Allah's system. This is not a punishment. He didn't do a sin. This is Allah's system. You do something, it will have a repercussion. I don't want to use the word karma because karma has other connotations, but something similar maybe. You do something, you can expect something. Kama tudinu tudanu is in hadith. Whatever you do, you can expect in return. Jibreel comes and says, someone slept without having anything. Be prepared for bala and affliction to come down. He said, but I didn't know. I didn't know. Jibreel says, you're lucky you didn't know. Had you known, we would have removed your name from the list of the prophets. You didn't know, but be prepared for affliction. At that moment they say, Nabi Yusuf comes and says, Inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban. وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. Baba, I have seen a dream in which 11 stars and the sun and the moon are prostrating to me. Nabi Yaqub puts one and one together and draws two. He says, here Jibreel is telling me be prepared for affliction. Here my son has just told me about his dream. Immediately he says, oh my son, La taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatik. Don't mention your dream to your brothers. He put one and one together. He said, here I'm hearing bala. Here I'm seeing this new thing of this dream. Something's going to happen. Nabi Yusuf didn't tell the brothers. He told his aunt. Nabi Yaqub told him, don't tell your brothers. He told his aunt. The aunt mentioned it to the brothers. The brothers took Nabi Yusuf, put him in the well. He got transported to Egypt. After 40 years, he sees his father again. Be prepared for affliction. When you don't take care of neighbors, when you don't take care of society, when you don't take care of even animals. I'll come on to that. If there's time, we'll come on to it. Be prepared for affliction. Sometimes we say, why so much bala in the world? Why so much trial? Why so many things going wrong? Let us think, what are we doing? So, where was I and where did I end up? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ashab Suffa were those group of people in the time of the Holy Prophet where he kept them in full view of everybody to not be indifferent to the plight of others, so that they may feel compassion. There was one particular person amongst these Ashab Suffa called Sa'ad. Sa'ad, although he was destitute, poor, but his one redeeming quality was Sa'ad in every namaz would be the first to be ready and the first to be standing in namaz. Bilal would not have even given azan, Sa'ad would be ready. He would be there in every single prayer, on time, actually before time. The Holy Prophet used to look at Sa'ad and feel sad, feel sorry. I don't like to see Sa'ad in this way. He's destitute, he's poor, he has nothing. He felt like this for a while. One day Jibreel descended. Jibreel says, O Prophet of God, we understand your pain. You are in pain because of Sa'ad. We have something. Here are 2 dirhams. You may give it to Sa'ad and tell him to engage in trade. The Holy Prophet comes to Sa'ad and says, Sa'ad, if you had some capital, could you engage in trade? Sa'ad says, yes, I think I could. Holy Prophet says, here's 2 dirhams. Go ahead and engage in trade. May Allah give you blessing. He starts to trade. The trade picks up. The trade picks up more. He ends up getting a little shop. The shop is near the mosque. He starts to do business. He starts to trade. Barakat is increasing. But now there's a change in Sa'ad. Now he's there in namaz after azan is finished. Before he was there before azan was recited. Now he's there after azan is finished. Some time passes, trade picks up. Sa'ad now joins late to namaz. Now he's joining in first rakat, second rakat, third rakat. Then time comes, trade is really booming. And Sa'ad now, he doesn't even attend Jamaat namaz. Now he's attending on Jummahs only, on Fridays only. Trade's picking up, Rasulullah is seeing what's going on. He speaks to Sa'ad. He says, Sa'ad, we don't see you much in the mosque anymore. Oh, Prophet of God, what can I do? I have to pick some property from here and some things from here. And then I have to pay that guy over there. And when I pay him, this guy over here has to pay me. And I'm juggling here and I'm juggling there and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I don't have time. This hurt the Prophet. Jibreel descends again and says, Ya Rasulullah, we understand your pain. Which of these 2 states do you prefer to see Sa'ad in? You want to see him poor destitute, but coming to prayers like he used to? Or you want to see him rich, wealthy, but neglecting the mosque and prayers? Rasulullah says, I would prefer the first state. Jibreel says, in that case, take back your 2 dirhams. Prophet comes and says, Sa'ad, do you have those 2 dirhams which I gave you? Sa'ad says, Ya Rasulullah, 2 dirhams? I will give you 200 dirhams. Prophet says, no, just those 2 please. Sa'ad gives the 2 dirhams. Before long, the business suffers, the trade stops, the shop closes, Sa'ad returns back to where he was. But in the grand scheme of things, this is much better for Sa'ad than being that rich, wealthy businessman. Now, how have we ended up in our position today? I'm very busy. I'm a very important person. I have lots of important things to do. I'll pray namaz when I have time. One of the younger brothers, he asked me a question yesterday. God bless him. Such a clean heart, clean person, beautiful question. He said, I have a place. I can either pray standing up in front of everybody. There is a place for me to pray. I can stand up and pray, but people are constantly coming in and out. I feel a bit awkward. Right? We all feel awkward, isn't it? When we're surrounded by other people who don't understand prayers, we feel a bit awkward. Or I can pray in private, but I'll have to sit and pray because the place is very constricted. What should I do? The answer is, just to feel awkward is not strong enough to make you pray sitting down. You'll have to pray standing up and face the awkwardness. And believe me, within 2, 3, 4 prayers, you will forget your awkwardness. You'll say there's nothing more natural than praying here. So when we are faced with prayer, you have to try your utmost to pray in the perfect way, unless it's a very good reason. Like what? Threat to yourself, threat to your life, threat to your well-being. Yeah, that's a different matter. Or for example, you're in a plane and they tell you you are absolutely not allowed to pray standing up. That's fine. You're not allowed. You have to comply with the regulations. Other than that, no. You must pray as close to the normal prayer as possible. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So as a summary, when we are polite in our prayer, number 1, we pray on time. This is part of politeness. Number 2, we are humble in the prayer. Number 3, we observe each position of prayer properly. Number 4, recite correctly. Yesterday, those of you who were not there, I emphasized this. You must make sure your recitation is correct. Zabar, Zer, Pesh, Fatha, Kasra, Zamma has to be correct. Ain, Ghain, Fe, Qaf, Dad, Dho, Zal, all of these things has to be correct. If you don't know, and many of us don't because we're not Arabs, get it checked. And if you can't find anyone to check it, then online there's plenty of resources that you can try and make sure your recitation is correct. Do some mustahabbat, spend proper time, don't rush. And we should know one thing. If we are failing to be polite and respectful with God in prayer, then definitely we're not being respectful and polite with Him outside of prayer. Someone comes to Agha Bahjat and says, Agha, how do I maintain my concentration in my prayer? Agha says, in that case, increase your concentration on Allah outside of prayer. Because you cannot expect 23 and a half hours in the day, you are thinking about everything else other than God, and then miraculously in the half an hour that you spend praying, you think about God. It can't happen. So you need to work on your time outside of prayer for you to have an impact inside of prayer. Now let's summarize our discussion in 5 points with salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So to consolidate our discussion on namaz, prayer. Number 1, namaz will eliminate arrogance because it forces you to be humble. It forces you to adopt positions that you'd never adopt. To put your head on the ground that usually you would never put. To bow that you would never bow. To appear and to splash water on your face at a time when that's the least thing you want to do. It forces you to lose your arrogance. Think to yourself, oh Allah, are you happy with my prayer? I'm trying. I'm trying to be respectful. Oh Allah, will you accept my respect? Oh Allah, the worst thing for me is to leave my bed and to put water on my face, but oh Allah, I'll do it for you. Can you be happy with me? Can you accept this from me? Speak to your God. Speak to Him. Now, the Holy Prophet says, أَكْثَرُ أَهْلِ الْجَهَنَّمِ الْمُتَكَبِّرُونَ. Most of the people in hell will be there because of their arrogance. Namaz removes that arrogance. Once you remove that arrogance, then really you are on a very good path, especially in this life and the life hereafter. Now, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says, a person who has even a small amount of arrogance in his heart will not enter heaven. And a person who has even a small amount of faith in his heart will not enter hell. Someone asked, may I be sacrificed for you, O Mawla? What do you mean by this? Imam says, what I mean by arrogance is denying the truth. Denial of truth. Religion is full of truth. Our religion, alhamdulillah, full of truth. We tend in this day and age to believe in a part and reject a part. What did I say the other night? Our disease of this time is what? We do ibadat of Allah, we don't do ita'at of Allah. We're willing to worship, no problem. I will pray, I will fast, I will even pay khums, I'll go on Hajj. But don't tell me hijab. Don't tell me these other things which make my life hard. Don't tell me music is haram, of all things. Don't tell me where to go and what to do and what to eat and what to wear. These things I won't take, but I'll pray. Don't deny these truths. Number 2, one of the beautiful effects of a good namaz is that the world will seem insignificant. Your love and attachment to the world will reduce. Why? The ulama give a very good description. The ulama give a very good description. They say, when a person adopts the path of spirituality, this is very special, so I want your utmost attention, please. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The ulama, let's just hold on. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The ulama, they give an example. When you were young, when you were children, you used to play with toys. Okay. What kind of toys? Some people had Lego, building blocks, cars, whatever. Okay? Now, why don't you play with toys now? Because you go through life, you become mature, right? You become mature. Mentally, emotionally, physically, you're becoming mature. So you don't play with those toys anymore. You do other things. Okay. When you look at a child now playing with those toys, you'll think it's normal. But what if you saw an adult, a normal, healthy, normal adult playing with bricks and Lego and this and that, having an imaginary friend? You'd say something's wrong. Okay. Spirituality is like this. Spirituality makes you mature in a different way. Your likes and dislikes change. Your mind changes. Your eyes change. The way you see things changes. The way you hear things changes. The kinds of company you like changes. The friends you keep change. Your activities change. Your hobbies change. Your dreams and aspirations change. Why? Because you're becoming more and more spiritually mature. Those things in the past, they don't interest you anymore. Those things that you used to do, the designer brands, the wonderful clothes, the cars, the houses, the belongings, the wealth. You think, what are these things? These are like Lego and toy cars and this kind of thing. So when a person grows spiritually, matures spiritually, they become an almost different person. مردم همه دنبال طرب خانه خیشند من مرثیه خان دل دیوانه خیشم. Those who know Farsi will understand. The poet says, people are so busy after their own luxuries and enjoyments, but I'm totally obsessed with crying over my sad situation. A person won't care now. What is he doing? What is he doing? What did he say? Who's she going out with? What is she wearing? Do you know she did this and he did that? Who cares? I'm worried about myself. I've got more than enough to worry about, thank you. همه اندرز من بر تو این است که تو طفلی و خانه رنگین است. I have one issue with you, and that is you are a child in a colorful house. You know when a nursery, have you seen a nursery, yeah? The kids go to nursery. What's the nursery like? Full of colors and stimulation, isn't it? Blue corner, red corner, yellow corner, this, that. Everything's so stimulating because you need to keep that kid always engaged with stimuli. The poet says, I have one issue with you. You are a child. And this world is a house which is very colorful. You're just wasting time here. So namaz and spirituality, when you start this path, it will change your outlook. Your eyes will change, your tastes will change, your likes and hobbies will change, your friendships will change. If you can take your family along with you, then very good. Otherwise, even some of your relationships will change in a good way. I'm not saying in a bad way, in a good way. So what it does is, when you approach namaz and spirituality properly, it will reduce the significance of this world. Someone comes to Imam Sadiq al-Islam and says, Oh Mawla, and says, Mawla, these words that you just spoke, Mawla, these words that you just spoke, they were like gold. Imam Sadiq says, you compared my words with a stone. Gold is a stone. Don't cheapen my words. So, in the path of spirituality, things change, your perception changes, your goals and ambitions change. So when you adopt namaz properly, it will help you in this. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, عَظُمَ الْخَالِقُ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ فَصَغْرَ مَا دُونَهُ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ. The people of taqwa, Allah's magnificence is so much in their heart, everything else seems to be insignificant. Because they have a different perception and look on this world. Rasulullah has a very beautiful dua. If you can remember this dua, please memorize it. Otherwise you can ask me later. I'll write it for you or I'll type it for you. Allahumma arinil ashya bima hiya. Allahumma arinil ashya bima hiya. Oh Allah, show me things as they truly are. What we see is not reality. we see a very filter upon filter upon filter of reality. We see just the outward shape of things. What the reality is something else. Quran says, those who consume, this is just an example, those who consume the property of an orphan, what are they consuming? Fire in their bellies, but they won't see it. In the hereafter they'll see it. And some people are blessed enough that in this world they'll see it, because they've removed the filters. They've traversed the path of spirituality. So, this second point was that the world will become insignificant and a person will be able to remove all this worldliness, this dunyavi nature, this materialism. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Thirdly, it will build your character, it will make you strong. Tell me something. Our 12th Imam, Imam Zamana Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, Arwahuna lahul fida, let's say he comes. He says, you, go and fight. We'll be like, Mawla, we don't even have the courage to put water in our face at the time of Fajr. We can't even get up. What are we going to go and fight? How sad. What does he expect from us and what situation are we in? You can't abandon your bed for 5 minutes. You can't splash your face with some cold water for 5 seconds. What service are we going to be of his? This is where Haqqullah and Haqqun Nas meet very beautifully. Someone comes to Imam Hassan alayhi salam and asks him, what kind of person should I give my daughter in marriage? He says, a pious person. He says, okay, what else? He said, that's it. He said, what do you mean that's it? There must be more. He said, let me tell you something. At the end of the day, aside from everything else, your daughter will either be a good wife or a bad wife. If she's a good wife, then alhamdulillah. If she's a bad wife, then only a pious person will be able to tolerate her. See, piety, spirituality, I'm not talking about just come pray namaz and you're pious. I'm not talking about just you wear certain clothes and you're pious. I'm talking about proper piety of Ahlul Bayt. The piety which ticks all the boxes. Haqqullah, Haqqun Nas. This is piety. This is taqwa. So it builds character. Number 4, it builds strength of willpower. In this world, how many difficulties have we gone through? Ask the elders at the back, how many difficulties and difficult situations have you seen? Without willpower, what are you going to do? You need to have a strong will and a strong willpower. Namaz makes sure you build that willpower. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, La yazalu shaitan dha'iran min al-mu'min. As long as a believer prays his 5 daily prayers on time, shaitan will fear him and not tempt him. But when he ruins his prayers and doesn't pray on time, shaitan will become audacious and will push him into large sins. Namaz is a barrier to shaitan. He knows, I can't touch this guy. Whilst he's engaged in proper 5 daily prayers, I don't have access to him. Now, 5th and final. Once your will is strengthened, your good characteristics will flow. One of the issues we have in the community is that, I don't like to use these terms, but we have sort of a split in the community, and this is in the international community. We have some people who probably, for want of a better term, are liberals and traditionalists. Okay, we have these 2 types of people. The liberals say These traditionalists, they'll pray, they'll fast, they'll do matam, but they will be awful people in their character. They'll do ghibat and they'll judge and then this and then that. You say, why don't you wear hijab? She'll say something like, well, at least I'm not doing ghibat. People who wear hijab do ghibat. Okay. And the traditionalists, they'll say things like, these people, they don't pray, they don't fast, they don't do all these things, they don't wear hijab, they're very loose in their character. Now, which one of these is correct? Neither. Islam wants these two things to come together. Because we have not understood the Haqqullah properly, we are not treating the Haqqun Nas properly. Because we haven't understood the Haqqun Nas properly, we are not treating the Haqqullah properly. If you're a namazi and a matami, then believe me, you must observe the rights of other people. If you are not a hijabi and you're not doing ghibat, then I'm sorry, but that's not right. MashaAllah, be the first one to wear hijab and not do ghibat. How about that? Why do we have to have this or that? Why does it have to be, if I wear hijab, then this? If I don't wear hijab, then I won't do ghibat. Oh, it's not like that. We have created these worlds and these labels for ourselves. So when you strengthen your Haqqullah side, your Haqqun Nas side will automatically strengthen. You'll see you've become kind. Why? Quran says this very beautifully. It says, Innal insana khuliqa halu'a. Man has been made covetous, greedy. Man, generally, man's nature, human nature, is to covet, to have things for myself. إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا. When something bad happens, he panics, he screams, he's anxious, he gets all flustered and stressed. وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. When something good happens to him, he wants to restrict. I received $10,000, you should not know about it, otherwise, you'll receive something and I'll get less next time. So whenever good happens, we say, don't tell anyone. It's just for us. So this is man's nature, covetous. When he's afflicted with something bad, he panics. When he's afflicted with something good, he hoards and doesn't let it reach other people. Except for one group of people. There's one exception who go against this nature of man. Illal musalli. Except for the namazis. Except for those who pray namaz. They're in a different category. They don't fall into this category. They're not covetous, they're not greedy. They're not panicking because they have trust in God. And nor are they restrictive in their bounties, because namaz has trained them. Like I said in the first lecture on namaz, it's a mentor. It will guide you and train you at every step. But pray it properly. Pray it with that politeness and that respect. Forget at the moment irfan and mysticism and crying and seeing visions. Pray properly with respect. Few months and then you'll see what happens. How the love of Allah comes in your heart. How you've been trained. Allah will train you. By praying your namaz, all of these things are possible. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, politeness is in namaz. Now let's look at politeness in other fields. Now our topic is switching to how to nurture oneself and one's family. If we are polite in namaz, and if we've understood the politeness and respect of God in namaz, then it cannot be that we don't show politeness to other people at other times. And the first place where politeness should reveal itself is in the family. These days you'll see, I receive complaints all the time. Parents, they say our children don't respect us. Husbands, our wives don't respect us. Wives, our husbands don't respect us. All of these things seem to be happening. Lack of respect, lack of that decency in the home. Why? We are falling short in these things of politeness and respect in the family. One thing which the soldiers of Yazid said, they said, these children of Hussein are amazing. No matter how much we used to hit them and torment them and starve them, they never swore at us. We never heard a bad word from their mouth. Look at the respect and politeness that Ahlul Bayt trained their kids with. Now, if we are finding that from our madrasa or from our institutions we have children who are not polite to their parents, then something is wrong. These two things, I would say, are your best indicators that something is wrong. If namaz is not being performed, something is wrong. And if the kids are not good to their parents, something is wrong. These are your two big red indicators, red lines, which you know something is going wrong. Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam says, Sa'ala rajulun Rasulallah ma haqqul walid ala waladih. A person came to the Holy Prophet and asked him, what is the right of a father upon his son? The Prophet replied, he should not call him by his name. Number two, he should not walk in front of him. I think just here we can say that we haven't achieved this. He should not walk in front of him or sit down before his father sits down, or do something that causes people to blame the father. This is his son. He must not have raised him properly. How hurtful is it when we are breaking our back at home to raise our kids properly, but they become very poorly behaved in public and the finger is pointed back to us. Rights of father, rights of mother, rights of the family. This is just the introduction. We'll do more tomorrow, inshallah. One of these things is that we have to understand why this is happening, why this is getting out of control, is because we have allowed our passions and our desires to overcome our akhlaq and our decency. It's all about me. I want this, I want that. It's my future, it's my life. Who are you to tell me? Why are you lecturing me? But it's my future, I say to my kids, I wish it was just your future. Then I would have been off the hook. I would have had a very relaxed life, thank you very much. Unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, your responsibility has been given to me. So it's not your life. I have a share in it. Tell Allah to relieve me of this, then we're okay. But it's not like that. I have a share. I'm responsible. You've been given to me as an amanat. I have to deal with you. You know, for his mother, our fourth Imam, imagine his akhlaq. Fourth Imam with his mother. He would not eat until his mother lifted up the morsel herself to her mouth. He would wait until the mother ate. Someone said to him, why don't you eat? He says, I'm scared the morsel which I took, maybe my mother would have taken that same one. I'll wait for her. Let her take first. Mother. Father, unbelievable respect, but mother off the scale respect and love for the mother. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Someone comes to Hajj and he has his mother on his shoulders, and on his shoulders he's making her do all the rituals, tawaf and sa'i and this and that. He sees the Prophet. He says, Ya Rasulullah, look what I'm doing for my mother. Have I discharged the duty that I have as a son on my mother? Have I paid her back? He says, you have not paid back even one of her breaths. Mother. So when we talk tomorrow about nurturing the family and the self, Inshallah, we'll be covering more practical points, especially for parents, the things you can do in your homes to set up a good, homely Islamic environment, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Respect and politeness. You cannot see a better example of respect and a politeness except in Karbala. Where will you see a person like Janabi Abbas? His brother is Abu Abdullah. He never calls him brother, he always calls him Mawla. Where will you see other kind of respect like this? Do you see how in Karbala you see respect and love coming together? How the respect turns into and transforms into love. Where will you see other than Karbala young boys coming to their uncle asking for permission to be sacrificed for him? On and Muhammad. They come to Abu Abdullah. They say, "Oh Abu Abdullah, allow us permission to fight." These two boys are very beloved to Imam Hussein. He loves them so much. They are the children of Janab Zainab. He says, "No, you don't need to go to fight. How can you ask me this? Don't worry, we are okay." Imam Hussein is trying to give them more and more confidence, trying to tell them they are not needed. They then come to Hazrat Abbas. They say, "If anyone can reach Hussein on our behalf, it's our uncle Abbas." They come to Janab Abbas. They say, "Oh uncle, can you ask Abu Abdullah permission for us to fight?" Hazrat Abbas turns away from them. They say, "Now where do we go? Whom do we turn to?" They say, "We go to the one person that Abu Abdullah can never refuse. We go to our mother Zainab. He cannot refuse his sister." They say, "Mother, you want us to go and fight. We ask our uncle again and again. He does not allow." Janab Zainab herself comes and says, "Oh brother, allow me to sacrifice my children in this cause. Allow them to go forth." Imam cannot refuse his sister, but he says, "Wait, I have a few conditions. One of the conditions is that these two young boys need to be trained in the art of warfare." Janab Abbas comes and says, "I will train them myself." He begins to train them in the few minutes that he has with them. He shows them how to hold the sword. He shows them how to attack. He shows them how to defend. Eventually the boys are made ready. When they put the armor on the boys, the armor is too big. It does not fit them. Still they are put on the horses. They insist on going to fight. They are made ready for battle. They are sent out into the battlefield. As they begin to fight, slowly but surely they are tired, they are fatigued, they are struck with so many blows to the body. They have not eaten or drunk properly for 3 days. They are weary, they are tired. Eventually one of the brothers falls. Muhammad falls the first. He cries out to his brother, "Oh brother, Aun, come and see me, come and help me." Aun tries to rush over to Muhammad. Aun himself is struck down. These two boys lie on the plains of Karbala. Abu Abdullah rushes out. He takes them in his arms. He brings them back to the tent. When they are brought back to the tent, the ladies are crowding around and they are crying for Aun and Muhammad. The matam has started. Janab Zainab comes. You know what they say about Janab Zainab at this moment? They say Janab Zainab, her heart broke, but she did not shed a tear. For Aun and Muhammad, she remained strong and resilient. We ask her, "Oh Janab Zainab, why did you not cry over your children?" Maybe she will reply, "I was saving my tears for Ali Akbar. I was saving my tears for Ali Asghar. I was saving my tears for my Hussein." وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Oh Allah, we ask you with the haqq of Bibi Zainab, with the haqq of Hazrat Aun and Hazrat Muhammad, oh Allah, forgive our sins. Oh Allah, guide us on the right path. Give us respect and politeness in our families. Keep our community united. Hasten the repairs of our 12th Imam. Give us tawfiq to be in his army when he comes. Oh Allah, keep our azadars throughout the world safe and sound. Oh Allah, bless all of the people working hard to make these majalis a reality. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. For all marhumin, al-Fatiha.